Hello, this is Johnny Henderson and Elijah Henderson with Chasing
Hello.
Night Shadows. We're here with Nathan Davis tonight. Nathan, how are you doing? I see you, your same hideous self. Nathan, we're trying to find someone who can help us out with him. He's so dadgum ugly, he happened to look in the mirror and just Medusa'd himself. We're looking for someone to break this spell so we can have him back in the field with us.
But don't worry, we're gonna get you out of this, buddy.
You'll be fine. Stop complaining, Nathan. Shut up. We're busy. Now, tonight's investigation, we wanted to go somewhere and do something, but we've actually had some activity lately on the property where we live. I don't know what all Nathan has put in previous investigations, but we've lived on this property since 2003, and ever since then we've had different things happen to us here. You know, I never really wanted to admit it to myself because I just figured people would think that I was just wanting to have something of a Bigfoot nature happen here so bad that I was making it up. But there's no way it could be that. There's just been too much weight of evidence. When we first moved in, we would hear things hitting the house, banging on it. I guess before I get to what we've had happen, I should give you a little description. All around me, you can't see very well because it's dark, but all around me is woods. I live 5 minutes from town. I can literally through the woods see the lights of town over here. But there's a river that separates us and a large field where I used to go and hunt for arrowheads and artifacts. But I'm 5 minutes from town. But over on this side of the river, there's probably about a 1 mile, maybe a half mile swath of thick wooded area. It runs for many, many miles lengthwise, and there's been a large, diverse amount of wildlife here. I've seen a bobcat down in these woods. There are coyotes holler all the time.
We've seen
armadillos, possums, foxes, and but we've been plagued with something here ever since we've lived here on the property. Here in my backyard, you can see it's nothing but woods. We'd be out here working in the front yard, and you'd see like rocks come flying out of the woods. It used to be a lot thicker down there. You'd see big rocks come flying out of the woods and land on top of the house or just hit the back of the house. And we're thinking that's pretty odd. Maybe it's neighborhood kids. But as time progressed on, you know, we would hear weird whoops and hollers coming out of the woods back here. And like I said, I didn't even dare hope that we would have a Bigfoot because we're so close to town. I didn't want people to think we were just making it up. But every year it seems like in the spring, early part of the spring, and deep into the fall, early winter, we have trouble here. Like I said, things will hit the back of the house. We'll hear things, large bipedal footsteps off in the woods. Find tree breaks. Hear growling. Literally heard something sound like it said the word here in a growl voice. Now, I don't know if that's somebody in the woods messing with me or what, because we actually do have some occultists live up the road, and I don't want to lay the blame at their feet, but we've recorded flute music coming from out of our woods. We found a hex mark on our mailbox that someone had put on it, and we've just had a lot of things. We've had people who have claimed to hear what they said sound like a bear off in our woods or something as big as a bear.
We've heard things that sound like singing coming from the woods.
Yes, we've heard things that sound like singing. So we've had just a whole plethora of weird activity here. Now, there's like a lot of brush and bushes over here, small trees, and you can't really see because we don't have a lot of light out here tonight. That helps out a little bit.
That does help a little bit.
But somewhere down here by these trees, one night we were getting like a lot of big stomping sounds over here in the woods. And literally we seen something, we didn't see the shape of it, but we seen where something ran into one of these bigger trees and literally shook it. And it sounded like it was charging at us through the woods. I mean, this is right beside my home. You can see it over here. It gets very scary here some nights. And just the other night,
Some nights it has almost an evil, oppressive feel.
yeah, and I've been down in the woods and found what I thought to be footprints are down here. As a matter of fact, I know they were, but we've got this tree here, and we went to bed. The tree's fine, but we get up and come outside to check on our animals, and this tree is broke, split right in the middle. I thought maybe ice had got on it and broke it, but you see how flimsy the tree is. Ice would just literally weigh it down. It wouldn't break. But something split this tree right in the middle. And we find trees knocked down in the woods sometimes. And lately, and I hope you'll excuse this yard, we've been working so much this summer, we've let our outside of our home get out of shape. But we're going to walk up here. You can get a little bit more of a view of the property as best you can in the dark. But lately, we've been having something growl and holler and moan up here pretty close to the neighbor's house. They've got dogs and a fence, so I don't know if something is trying to mess with those dogs and getting them stirred up, or what's going on. But oftentimes, over in this patch of woods, you'll hear something big, and there are deer in this woods, and you know they're heavy and they break sticks. But when you hear something breaking a big thick limb, you know it's not normal. And you hear hollers. We've really caught some bizarre noises out here.
We'll probably have those uploaded to our website
At some point.
At some point.
We're still walking up the hill. This
Maybe
is
get 'em on
my
YouTube at some
pathway goes up to where our car is parked at the top of the hill. My wife literally got growled at the other day right here in this clump. You can see how close this is to the neighbor's house, but over in this clump of blackberry bushes, and it's not picking up very well.
Still not picking up?
Well, a little bit better, but a little clump of blackberry bushes right here.
We're going to try to upgrade some of our gear at some point.
Yes, we are going to be upgrading our gear. And did you leave Nathan down there? Or do you still have him?
I still got Nathan.
Nathan, what do you think? Do you have anything to say? Cat got your tongue? No, they don't want to hear that nonsense.
He's camera shy.
Just shut up, Nathan. But over in this area, somewhere a little further off this direction, we were in the workshop working, and we heard the most god-awful, loud, deep, guttural moaning coming out of these woods. But it was further back than what we could see. I had Elijah run in the house and get a recording device, but by the time he got something to record with, it had already stopped. But it's lately been right here, growling, and just a lot of disturbing noise.
We'll often come up through here in the mornings and smell sewage or rotting
Yeah,
meat.
smell like garbage or rotten meat or something. Always in this area. I've always, you know, it'll get me almost every time. I'll be like, oh no, I hope that's not the septic or something going bad. But once we pass this area right here, it goes away. It seems to emanate right in here.
It's localized to one area.
Usually when people come over to visit, when they walk up or down this hill to get to their car, they get real uncomfortable in this area. And you can hear the noise from town, so we're not far from town, but the woods that we're in behind my home is very, very thick. And
There's probably around, what, 30, 40, 50 acres in this area?
oh, it's a lot more than that. Like I said, it's probably half mile or a mile over to the river, and then the bottoms run for many miles both ways. There's cliffs and bluffs, lots of places somebody or something could hide. I think we have some sort of activity that comes through here seasonally, like I said earlier, in the fall and in the winter. Now, it's hard to describe all the things that we've had happen here over the years. One incident that I can tell you is that we had a lot of cats, and we had chickens, and they started coming up missing. We couldn't find them. And we've got a metal building down in our backyard that we used to have some goats, and we had one of our goats chained up in the building where she'd come in and out and wouldn't be right in the cold. And we kept having something disturbing our dogs. So we got out of bed and we come down here and started looking around with the flashlight, and we could see really bright orange eye shine down in the woods. And while we're looking at that, trying to see if we could see what it is, we smelled this really bad stinking near this house we keep the goat in. Well, I'll just call it the goat house. And I go in there and I'm looking around. We had some stuff stored in the building. The goat didn't mind, you know, she's a goat. But Nathan, what are y'all over there doing?
Looking at something that looks like a break. Can't guarantee that, but it kind of looks like that.
Well, that could be from the storm damage the other night. But
No, this is old.
we got to looking around in the building, and I had an old radio flyer wagon sitting up against the wall in the building, and the smell was really emanating from around that wagon. So I pulled the wagon back away from the wall and looked, and there's all of my missing animals stacked on top of each other, dead. Their stomachs had been hollowed out, and they were left there, stacked up. Now, I called the Fish and Game Commission and asked them what kind of animal could have done that, and they said, there's no animal that does that. That would have to be a human component. But yet, I don't know of any human that would do it, unless possibly it is the occultic people that was living up the street. But they're probably the ones responsible for all the giggling in the woods and the flute music. But there's no way that they could have these big, deep, guttural growls that we hear sometimes in the woods, or the whistles, or chirps, or chattering. It sounds like apes down in the woods sometimes. And just not this summer, but the summer before, my daughter, she was jogging, and she come out, or would come back from her jog, and she's coming down this path right here, and when she come right here, she saw a small creature. I'm gonna walk down here and I'm gonna get her to come out and tell you all about it. And like I said, there's been so much stuff here that I have literally forgotten most of it. I've recorded so many things that I've had them stored on so many computers. I've lost a lot of the sounds. You know, when we first got here, both of my kids claimed that they saw something in the woods. My daughter swears that she saw one of the people who live up the road, who are high-level occultists. She said it was him in the woods with a gun, but yet my son swears that he saw.
Looked to me.
Tell him what you saw.
As odd as it sounds, it looked to me exactly like a Bigfoot, and you know, that's not really a easy thing to say. Oh, you know, that is actually a hunter. Looked to me, with the passage of time, it's easy to kind of let certain memories of it kind of disappear a little bit, but it almost seems to me like if you cut out the Patterson footage and pasted it on the land, it looked almost like that.
Did you say that it had a tail?
It had some kind of a looked like a tail behind it, but it was jittering almost like how the heads would in Silent Hill, where they...
The tail was jittering like that?
Almost like that.
So I don't know too many hunters with a tail. What do you think, Nathan? No, it was not Buddy the elf. Nathan, quit plugging your job. We know that you've been taking pictures for Santa dressed like an elf, and I gotta say that I'm really ashamed of you that you're literally making elf shoes for your job. You better hope that we can find somebody to break this hideous curse off of you. Now keep your mouth shut. People want to hear something else. But I'm going to go in now, and I'm going to try to get Gabrielle to come out. Would you go get your sister?
I would.
But our troubles seem to be worse, like I said, in the spring and in the fall. I mean, a couple of times in the summer, I've come out and heard what sound almost like a lion growling behind the house. It's just that loud. I had over here on this side, I used to keep a white German Shepherd chained up. And one morning I got up and come out, and something had taken a bite out of the side of his face and out of his arm, and he ended up leg, and he ended up dying from an infection. I don't know what happened to him. Tell Daddy and the public all about what you saw up here.
And don't look directly at Nathan.
Don't look at Nathan. You don't want to be turned to stone.
All right, so it was maybe about 2 years ago, I would say in April or May, between 3 and 5 in the afternoon. I was just coming back from my run, and I stopped right up there, and I saw peeking from around the open door of the building this thing. It was maybe 3 feet tall or smaller, about toddler sized, and it was kind of moving around. It looked grayish and hairless, almost kind of like a mottled gray color. And then before I could even get around to get a good look at it, it just took off running just so fast. Faster than like a cat or something, and it was heavy too.
And did you say it looked like it was on 2 or 4 legs?
Yes, it looked like it was on 2 legs. And it ran off with just such speed, and it sounded so heavy.
Now, would you say it ran off this direction over here?
Yes, it ran off right in that direction. And then it got off in the woods, I assume, and it started hollering. It sounded like a cross between a dog, a cat, and a human child.
Have you heard or seen anything else like that since?
I have not. It sounded so human, though. I briefly was worried and wondered if someone's kid had gotten out, but then I realized it couldn't be because a kid couldn't sound that heavy or run off that fast.
But what's interesting is that Fox News recently posted on their website a video that somebody captured of some humanoid-like thing. It looked almost like Smeagol from Lord of the Rings stalking a moose from the wood line, and it was mottled gray.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because Smeagol that's the vibe I got from it, very Smeagol-esque.
Well, I don't think that there's hobbits in the woods. I don't think so, anyway.
I should presume not.
You can't rule them out, they're tricksy.
It's hard to rule them in, son. But considering we're talking about bipedal creatures, I guess we're willing to go with anything. But we're going to try to put out a camera, see if we get any film footage or anything. Going to try to put out a recording device, see if we get any audio. We have, over the years, got some really stellar audio. But that's where we're at with investigating our yard. I don't usually like to hunt around here because if there is something, I don't want to get used to coming up here any more than it already is. I forgot to tell you, right down here in the front yard the other night, it was raining pretty hard. Again, excuse this area here. This is where Elijah and I have been doing a lot of woodcraft and moving stuff, and it looks like Freddy Krueger lives here or something right now. But I was in the house, I was sleeping in my chair, and April, my wife, got up and told me to go outside. She heard something tromping or stomping around in the front yard. And I got up, found a light, got my shoes and stuff on, or got ready to go out, and came out and looked, and there was nothing out here I could find. This is the same night the tree got broke, in fact, actually.
I think that was we found it a night or two before. But I came out.
We did.
I came out early in the morning and was hearing something sounded like bipedal stomping around in the bushes, and
Are you sure? Yes,
I believe it was the next day that it was
because
found.
that was the night that I told y'all to stay in because I heard stomping off in these woods over here. Either way, something tromping around out here, something tromping around in these woods the same night, something tromping over here, and I come out to see if I could find some prints, but it was just raining too hard to see if there was anything. But this is definitely, this little area here has proved to be an area of high strangeness. I don't know why. I know there are a lot of occult ties to this land right here. One of the women I worked with found out where I lived, and she asked me if I had any trouble out of all the witches that are here, that live here. So I don't know how she knew about them or what, but just less than a quarter or an eighth of a mile up the road, they have a property where they literally have some kind of big fest on Beltane and Samhain, where they will have ambulances and people watching traffic and helping park and doing some sort of gatherings down in the woods. And
it should be noted also that when they pull out of the driveway extends down into the woods. You can't see the property, but they've had a lot of occult stickers on their vehicle.
Yeah, so I don't know if maybe they're coming through the woods and doing part of the things that we're seeing and hearing, but there's definitely some sort of activity here in the yard. Nathan's come up several times and he's got in on a little bit of the activity, the whoops, the hollers. He's seen shadows walking in the woods. He's seen, claims he's seen eye shine. And we've seen shapes dart here and there from time to time, but never got a great view of anything except for whatever Gabrielle saw when she wasn't even looking for anything, just coming back from a run.
Nathan personally got to hear the flute music one night.
Yes, we've actually got audio of that somewhere.
Seen anything mess with or disturb down there by your cabin? Not that I know of. What was that? Left brakes? That might be. Listen. It sounded like somebody with a recorder.
We're going to start keeping a closer eye on things around here, see if we can get any evidence. I know that Nathan's posted a video or two called Backyard Mysteries or something like that. Nathan, you're not very good at coming up with titles to shows, but don't you argue with me. Get your tongue back in. What? Don't take that attitude with me, Nathan. Get your mind out of the gutter. You're better than that.
What the heck's the matter with you?
Yeah, what's wrong with you, dummy? But we're going to continue to look around. I would go further in the woods, but people are still hunting over here a lot. And not tonight, but I try to stay out of the woods as much as I can because I don't want to get shot in my own backyard by somebody enthusiastic. I will tell you also one more thing, that we found a place in the wood where there's just like a pile of dead deers. I can go down there tomorrow probably and find a deer head somewhere in the woods, or I've even got to picking some of them up and bringing them home just for the skulls and the antlers and things of that nature. But if we come right over here, I mean, you can see there's one right here. There's one right here. Over here, I think there's a couple.
There's one in there.
I thought there was 2 in here. There is 2. One here and one back there. But something is killing a lot of deer back here. And we found a place down at the bottom of the bluffs where there's like a bunch of them, like a deer graveyard, and scattered all along these hills, dead deers. We even found one right down here in the backyard. Couldn't really tell what was going on with it. It was, do you remember what was wrong with the deer down there?
Down by our little campsite?
Yes.
It looked almost like it was missing a head. I've got video footage of that. I included it in a horror movie at one point. But it just appeared down there one day.
Yeah, it's just amazing to me that this close to a town that would have as much activity. I see though that my battery is dying, so we're going to go ahead and cut it short here, and we will pick this up another time. But for now, this is Gabrielle Henderson, Elijah Henderson, the ever hideous Nathan Davis, and myself, Johnny Henderson, for Cryptid SI and Chasing Night Shadows, and we'll try to do better and bring you better content in the future. Have a good night.
Stay groovy, baby.
Stay groovy.